right. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Eric mentioned I'm from Comcast Wholesale, and so we're going to talk to you a little bit about what Comcast is doing in the TV Everywhere space, but I thought I might just let all of you know what we do in Comcast Wholesale as part of Comcast Cable. We are a division of the company that sells to the industry, and we think about technology providers, multi-platform video providers, and content owners and programmers, and we sell a number of solutions in the IP space, content delivery networking, ad delivery solutions, and content origination on the linear side. So that's a bit about what we do, and we'll talk to you about the transition of how we took some of the platforms and key capabilities that we have in our X1 and Xfinity IP product suites and made them available to the industry in the form of products like live linear streaming and content delivery. So it's a bit about going back in history and talking about what we've done over time in our consumer product set, and also highlighting how we overcame some of the key challenges. And I'll conclude with a really quick case study about how we're providing solutions to small programmers who want to get their content online quickly and cost effectively. So we recognized the need early on, almost 10 years ago, the need to move to some of the newer TV watching trends that the last presenter really just talked about. The need to consume content on demand and the multiple choices people would like to have in their VOD libraries. So we started out in 2008 with what we called Project Infinity internally, and really that was just about exponential growth in the number of VOD choices that we would make available to consumers. At that time, there might have been several hundred VOD video on demand choices on a very clunky and old and hard to use infrastructure, and we wanted to make thousands of choices available, if not hundreds of thousands, on a very easy to use interface. And so when that product was launched in 2009 as Xfinity On Demand, there were thousands of choices out there. And what we had to do to get there was really scale our IP infrastructure and our delivery infrastructure. And we also realized really early on that we wanted to have a ubiquitous experience across devices. So that became increasingly important, that the guide and the services you see on your traditional TV screen would be similar across mobile devices and tablet devices and on laptop computers and so forth. So that really was the work that we then had to do with the interfaces and the video processing and putting that technology into our mobile products and the ability to stream to other devices such as an Xbox platform. And we went from there to really creating the TV Go apps, and again keeping that Xfinity interface consistent across devices, and then finally into launching what we call our X1, our new entertainment operating system. So it's a whole suite of services that really take advantage of a full IPTV experience. And I think the key benefits here that I would emphasize is we really did this to have speed to market with new capabilities and services. I mean, developing to the old legacy cable infrastructure is very challenging and very expensive and involved numerous hardware and software upgrades across the platform. And now you can roll out things ultra quickly. And as an example, just last week, we launched a social TV product called Xfinity Share, which really embeds a live streaming service within the Xfinity interface. So you can contact another subscriber and say, hey, I'm watching this great show, and they can click on that share button and watch it with you and share TV in a social environment. So it's a pretty cool example of what this new infrastructure enables us to do. So along the way, in kind of rolling this out, we had to look at a number of key challenges. They're probably not surprising to any of you, that especially if you're coming from a cable environment, you have legacy infrastructure in the form of millions, in our case, of embedded set-top boxes with different operating systems and different proprietary closed systems. So we had to find our ways to work around that. We had legacy VOD infrastructure that we had to work around and bring that into an IP-based system. And of course, we had to update all our guides and the user interfaces. So that's an example of some of the work that had to occur. Ultimately, we also know that people are used to a TV experience that when you change the channel, the program just comes on. And we talked, some of the presenters earlier talked about the notion of buffering, and you lose audience through buffering. So it was a pretty incredible challenge to try to, make sure that all of our IPTV and all the streaming worked as well and as quickly as your traditional experience. And oh, by the way, we're doing that in bit rates and formats that are much more aggressive than they were in the past from a legacy infrastructure perspective. Cross-platform complexity, meaning that we want the experience to be similar across devices, and then making sure that that infrastructure can be upgraded to new formats, whether it's higher def content or the ability for social TV, or whether it's, new guides and thousands, if not millions or more of on-demand choices, and even video aggregation on the TV. So to give you a sense of what this means and then what we're making available to the industry, we had to really go in there and upgrade the network infrastructure, our video processing workflow, our content management systems, and then our delivery architectures. So, network, which, tends to be near and dear to my heart, was really about, taking what used to be 10 gig metro networks and building that up to 100 gig platforms, making sure that we're upgrading our DOCSIS infrastructure so that the bandwidth into the home can not only support, some of the higher speed internet services you hear a lot about, like we just launched a 2 gigabit per second service, but also that the bandwidth is there to support these higher streaming bit rates on the IPTV side. Video processing. So we developed and built our own video processing infrastructure where, and I think this is really a key differentiator for us, where we can take the signals in, whether from satellite, fiber, or other file types, and make them available, process them, encode them, perform whatever security and authentication is necessary, and then make them available across a range of devices. Content management is another area we had to invest in. We have a company that's part of our organization, Comcast Wholesale, called The Platform. Many of you have heard of them. And they have a product called MPX, and it's really the heart of our CMS, and their player and PDK support a lot of these applications. So the platform is also available to the industry, but it was really that content management system that allowed us to quickly decide which content would be made available, handle the authentication and the play out. And then finally, a content delivery infrastructure. Our content delivery network was initially built to serve our VOD library and delivery of that VOD library. And we really optimized it around video. It's not the same set of traditional CDN services you may think about from, let's say, an Akamai. This is really a video CDN, and it's established to perform really well with HTTP files. So again, that's something that we've decided, because it works so well, we'll take it external. We quietly launched this product a couple years ago, and it's basically a pure content delivery solution where either from your origin or an origin we host for you, we can play out content delivery services. Another thing that we can do based off of the infrastructure that I just mentioned is deliver turnkey solutions for live linear streaming. So remember I said, we've got this great signal acquisition capability that we use within our cable business to acquire all kinds of channels, whether they're on our cable plant or not, or whether they're subscription-based or part of the basic package. We have all of these feeds coming in. So it's really easy for us to work with broadcasters and programmers and to have them ask us to take one of their live channels through our ingest capabilities and make it available online. So we have a turnkey solution that can do that. It can take the linear feed, encode it, process it, and take it out over our CDN. So that's an example of a full end-to-end solution. But if you already, let's say, have a CDN contract or have CDN vendors you prefer to work with, and you can certainly do that as well. And that's what we call our linear acquisition product. So it's really just a subset of the live linear streaming where we originate a lot of channels in the linear world today. We can certainly do that online, just taking those channels in and processing, encoding, and publishing them to whatever third-party CDN you want to use. So some more sophisticated kinds of adjunct products to what I just mentioned would be, a live to VOD service, which means, if you are playing out a channel or, you have a show that you then want to take and record as a file and make available on a VOD system, and or allow users the ability to, stop or rewind and replay that same show. That's another capability that we're able to offer based on the infrastructure and capabilities within our X1 platform. And then finally, over-the-top video on demand, meaning that we can catalog and deliver files and insert ads, which is another key feature of what we do over a multi-CDN environment. So maybe to kind of wrap this all up and put it together and what it means in terms of, how we've taken some of the experiences we've had it over the years and made that available to third parties. A good case study would be, we recently engaged with a independent lifestyle channel network that doesn't have a lot of carriage, but they have some what they feel is compelling content, and they wanted to get into market to really figure out how that content would best be delivered to consumers. Of course, there's ad-supported models or the subscription models, and they really weren't sure, based on their marketing plans, what would be the right way to do it. And certainly at the early stages of launching their channel, their network, they didn't have the CapEx, and they certainly didn't have the in-house technical expertise that it would take to do the kind of full stand-up that some of the larger programmers have done today. So they engaged with us to provide a turnkey live linear streaming solution, which allowed us, through taking their channel in through our satellite facilities in Georgia and Colorado, we then encode the signal and push it out over our CDN. They use the platform's MPX for their content management and for their player capability. And in effect, what this allowed this startup broadcast channel to do was get a sense of what their market reach could be, to get a sense of what customers liked about their website and their video player interface, and get to market real quick and experiment with things. And we think, we're going to see a lot more of that in the market with the, some of the, great content that's out there, and the ability for users to create content, and for networks to, create a compelling, differentiated value proposition targeted at whatever niche they're targeted at. We think services like ours can be a really compelling way to foster that growth. And so, good story of a large company like Comcast, taking some of its technology and helping out the marketplace. So that's a quick overview of, our transition and migration from, traditional cable to really being an IP-based video provider, a technology company that we are today, and hopefully a little sense of what our business unit does in Comcast Wholesale, and working with the streaming media community to offer a set of services that are, some of it CDN, but we also have a lot of services that tie in the linear acquisition of feeds and make those available through other CDNs as well. So I'll stop and pause for questions, and we also have a great giveaway that I think some of this material is from across the street with our partners at NBC, some cool Saturday Night Live shirts and other paraphernalia. So stick around for that. But I think we have time for a few questions. Yep.
How do you interact with Comcast Business Class services?
Yeah, good question. So Comcast Business obviously is the entity that is part of Comcast that really focuses on selling small and medium businesses. Organizationally, we're in a separate part of the business. We actually have a set of companies within Comcast that we call platform services. Comcast Wholesale is one of those. And those companies that are a part of platform services really focus on markets that revolve around media and advertising. Also some networking. So within Comcast Wholesale, we also have a voice and data business that really focuses on the wholesale market as opposed to small and medium business services markets. Does that help?
Yeah.
really. So it's really more of a target customer issue than and a product separation. Yeah. Other questions? Yeah, in the front.
Is there a case study, a written case study of the work that you did with this small content provider?
Written case study. We're in the process of publishing one, so we'll have this one a little more detailed and put up on our website pretty soon. I think one of the cool things about the case study that I found particularly compelling was the time to market. So we really want to highlight that because standing up all this technology and engineering, it takes a heck of a lot of time, and we were able to do it within a matter of weeks for the customer. Yep.
How many potential subscribers would this case study reach versus like notification on the
Well, I mean, I think the question was really how many subscribers would this reach? And, the answer is it's, any number because it's really enabling them on the internet. So it was really up to the marketing of the broadcaster to go out and acquire those subscribers or get them interested in hitting the website and hitting this content. But, it could be based on the rights of the content. It could be in any country. It could be the population of the U.S. or the population of the U.S. plus other countries as their target market. Yeah.
Speaking of marketing, how are you recommending, or some of the partners like this one, what do they typically do? Is it an online marketing, or is it linear, or both? Or
Yeah.
anything like that yet?
Yeah, good question. So how would the programmer reach its target audience in this case? And I think a lot of it has to do with maybe the previous presentation, because in this case, a lot of it was socially driven. A lot of lifestyle and faith-based content that would be targeted to people who are interested in those kinds of subjects in like a Facebook, Pinterest, or Twitter world. Yeah.
How would you guys acquire revenue from this model?
Good question. So how would we acquire revenue from the model like this? We have a fee for live linear acquisition and for the encoding and packaging of the content. And then if the customer wanted to use our CDN, for example, that could be another revenue stream. If they wanted to use another someone else's CDN, we could also provide the origin for that, and they would use so a number of services would make up the revenue stream. We try to as much as possible we try to package those components so it's more of a one price for the service than a bunch of other things. Another example in this case would be MPX from the platform, which is their content management service and player, is another component. Yep.
Are there special analytics that go along with content delivery?
Yeah, a good question. So around analytics. Analytics is something that we currently provide or we have currently built as it relates to our services. And we haven't really figured out the best way to make those available. I mean, certainly there's CDN analytics. So the performance analytics are there, and the usage analytics are there. But in terms of greater intelligence, that's something we're looking into and trying to figure out how to marry that with some of the advertising capabilities, because that's another key part of our business that over time we can marry into this and make available as a more robust service set. There's not just the ability to, acquire and manage and deliver the signal, but insert advertising on behalf of the programmer based on analytics. Yeah. Yeah.
Could that also become a channel on the cable system as well as distributed over the internet?
Yeah, I mean, so around, can it become a channel on the cable system? I mean, certainly that gets into more of the rights and licensing question. But it is an interesting way for a startup broadcast network to make its case that I have reach and interest. So, previously a channel would have to convince, a Comcast or a Verizon Fios or a Charter to carry them, and that could be hard to do as a startup. But if you have reach and you have an online presence and you can say, look, I've got 2 million people who tune into this a couple times a week, that makes for a very compelling case. So that's an interesting way to go about it in the world. So. All right. You want to, yeah? Oh, yeah, sure.
Are you doing more kinds of cases like the one that you mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the case study, you mean more kinds of case studies? Yes. I think we should put a few more up on the website. I'm looking at my marketing team here. That's a good idea because we do have some other services where, to demonstrate it could be turnkey. We have some that are coming off satellite acquisition. We have some that are coming from fiber-based feeds, and we have some where we're, doing some unique DRM capabilities for. So, I think having that variety would be useful as far as case studies. All right. Yeah, let's give this fun little Saturday Night Live gift basket away.